Hello and welcome to another episode of Demystifying Acting. And today, I'm going to share with you a secret technique that I use for auditions and also for answering any interview question. This is one of the most valuable things I teach my student because it's applicable across so many different things. Whether you are auditioning for a commercial and they ask you a question in a personality slate, or if you're doing a theatrical and they do sometimes occasionally ask you questions about what's your favorite hobby or what would you like, Christmas or Thanksgiving? All of these questions sometimes seem so random. And why in the world does casting want to know? What do I prefer? Well, there is a trick to answering these questions. And it's not just applicable to your auditions. It's also applicable if you're walking down the red carpet or if you're going to a talk show, a news reporter interview. Any time when you're asked a question as an actor, this is my number one secret to help you get through it. And the trick is, do not answer the question. Now, I know that feels so contrary to everything we've ever learned. And believe me, every one of my students goes, what? So if they ask me, tell us about your favorite vacation, or tell us about, what would you like, the ocean or the beach? What inspired you for this role? Whatever it is, the number one thing to do is do not answer the question because the answer is irrelevant. In all honesty, casting don't care. Nobody cares. The director doesn't care. The producer doesn't care. Casting directors don't care. Nobody cares. What was your favorite vacation? Where did you go last vacation? What did you do, at your last trip to Hawaii? Or which was your favorite restaurant? None of that matters to them because that's not the point of that question. And I'm sure we've been taught so many times for so many years in our schools to answer the question. Remember to answer the prompt. If somebody asks you this question, you need to make sure you read the prompt and answer it. Well, in acting, don't answer the question. Instead, what I teach my students to do is to go with the very first image that comes to your head, whatever you see. So if you're asked the question, what was your favorite vacation? And right now, the first image I see, and it changes all the time, but right now, at this very moment, the very first image I see in my head is when I'm standing underneath this waterfall. It's just gorgeous. I mean, there were a lot of people there, don't mind me, it's very touristy, but it was this gorgeous waterfall. I was standing underneath it and I just felt that warm water, just trickling down the waterfall. And I was just like, wow, I've never in my life experienced a waterfall that was warm because it was tropical. I'm used to cold water growing up in LA, the waterfalls up in like Eden Canyon and Millard Canyon. Those were like super cold because we get the icy Alaskan water. But this was in Hawaii and Kauai, and I was, taking this boat, the kayak. It was one of those it was the only kayaking you can do in all the Hawaiian islands. And you kayak into the middle of the forest, and then you take this short little hike down into Waimea Falls, and voila, just this gorgeous little oasis in the middle of the jungle. And the waterfall was warm, and I was like, wow, I am in paradise. So that was definitely one of my favorite vacations. But in all honesty, my favorite vacation was probably my Southeast Asian trip, where I went to Taiwan, ate lots of food. I went to Vietnam, and then I went to Cambodia and checked out my dad's birthplace, and also went to Angkor Wat. And then I went back to China and checked out my grandfather's birthplace. It was like a research trip that I did. So, as you can see, my answer was actually not the story I told. Because the story I told was the very first thing that came to my head. It was a lovely trip. It was a trip that I really enjoyed. But it wasn't my favorite vacation in the world. Yet at this very moment, that was what popped in my head. That is the thing that I was most emotionally connected to. And that's the most important thing. Because our job as an actor is to show emotional connections to what we're talking about. It isn't a factual thing. Nobody really cares. In truth, we don't really care about celebrities walking their dog and then doing the same thing that millions of people are doing every single day. We care about their emotional connection to what they're doing. That's what fascinates us. It's not the story in and of itself because we hear it all the time. We see it all the time. We all lived it all the time. And do we really care where Tom Hanks went for vacation or Taylor Swift's favorite restaurant? Well, we might care a little bit about that because we might want to try it out, but we don't really care about the exact things that they're doing. Rather, we care about their emotional connections to the things that they're doing, because that's the job of an actor, to communicate emotion. So whether you're on a red carpet or you're in your audition room, make sure you do not answer the question. Well, at least not till the very end. You can and should answer the question at the very end, just a matter of fact, to close out the question, the answer that you provided. But make sure you start off with the emotional part, which is whatever you see in your head right away, because your subconscious knows something that your consciousness do not. So that's my secret to how to answer a question as an actor anytime you're asked a question in a commercial audition or a theatrical audition or in an interview on a red carpet or on TV. That is your number one trick to giving a successful answer. So there you are, another episode of my Demystifying Acting. So regulate and go book that job.